What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the NECA Godzilla, Shin Godzilla. Really happy I found this guy in stores. I've actually been looking for him for quite some time. We do have Shin Godzilla here in the packaging. I cannot wait to get him open. Does have the Godzilla logo here, as well as the Shin Godzilla right here. It is for ages 14 and up. Warning, choking hazard for children under 3 years of age. On the side, another look at Shin Godzilla, and you can see his tail is right here. And then on the back, we don't get a read-up, we just get a nice image of Shin Godzilla. As you can see, really loving the packaging. There's no read-up, no nothing, just the image of the action figure. So, what I'm going to do now is take a little break, get this guy opened up and out of the packaging, then we'll continue his review. So sit tight, everyone. And here we have Shin Godzilla posed and out of the packaging. Before we get onto the figure, let's actually have a good 360 of the figure. And my goodness, this is an impressive looking figure. I do have a little issue here with the tail on mine, and I'll just get that out of the way right now. The tail pops off way too easy. And it's just not at that joint, it also pops off at this joint. It doesn't help that this is a really heavy tail. You can see it doesn't really support its own weight here. And he just has this really massive tail, and it does make him a little back heavy, but overall still a really good looking figure, and we'll get more into the details as I go on with the review. But overall, I really do like this figure, and I'm going to say NECA did a really good job sculpting this guy. Shin Godzilla looks amazing out of the packaging, and even the paint is really good. And you know, this makes me kind of wish that, or kind of glad that I wasn't able to get the Monster Arts Godzilla, because I did see some reviews on that and the paint wasn't nearly as good as this. This is actually a really good paint job. The only complaints I have, which is two actually, is his spines. They're a little too red. Like, it should still be red down here toward the base of his back, and the spine should be completely, you know, washed effect like it is right up here on his neck and right here on his tail. If they had continued this effect throughout all the spines, it'd be almost perfect. And then we get on to the tail, which let's show that off really fast. He has these orange patches on his tail. I don't know what they're supposed to be, or if they're supposed to be there. I don't know. But they just look really off and out of place, and I really don't think those should be there. But let's zoom out. Okay, so we can have another look at Shin Godzilla here, and like I said, NECA did a really good job sculpting this guy, and I can't be any happier with it than I already am. A few minor complaints with that loose tail, but like I said, it can be fixed, so it's not that big of a deal. And I'll probably fix it when I get the chance. But let's go over some of the detail, because Shin Godzilla here has a lot of detail. For starters, let's actually have a look at that really menacing looking face. And I think they did a really good job painting the eyes. As small as they are, they did a really good job on that. I mean, just take a look at his eyes. They did a good job just painting those eyes and making them look right. I mean, he is supposed to be kind of looking in two different directions, but that's basically how the actual suit looked. And you can see all his teeth here. There's some that are not even in his jaw completely. And then if we can open his mouth really fast so we can show that off. All that detail in his mouth also comes out, so they did a good job sculpting this guy. It shows that they took a lot of care when sculpting Shin Godzilla. Even the fact that they went back and redid the head, I really do like that. When they showed the original model, the head was a little too big, and this one seems perfect. It looks just like Shin Godzilla. And then we go on to all that crack. It looks like burnt flesh, like he has radiation, or burnt flesh from like a atomic explosion, and that's basically the look they were going for. This actually looks much better than I actually thought it would be. You can see his tiny little arms right here. His dorsal spines again. Not the best. They could have gone all the way down to the base, but as it is, that's pretty good for what it is. They pretty much nailed the rest of the figure, so that's one thing I have to give them credit for. It does look like this leg seems a little thin on the paint. You can see it's brown. It's not really as black as it is here, so that is something to note, and it's something I really couldn't pay attention to because that side was covered in the packaging. And then we get on to his multi-segmented tail. You can see the spines right here don't continue. They actually change design going all the way throughout his tail. And then we do get this really strange looking tail. And I know it shoots a beam in the movie. I just haven't seen the movie, so I don't know exactly how this tail works, but it could look better. I think the Monster Arts did a better job with the tail. This one is okay. There's a wireframe in it, although you can see bending it does kind of break up the paint, and you're probably not going to want to be bending that too much because of how much paint is actually on here. You might end up cracking it and it won't look as good anymore. Moving the camera back out. So we can have a look at Shin Godzilla's articulation because he has quite a bit. NECA didn't even skimp on the articulation for this guy, which I'm really glad about. Starting from head to tail, let's actually show that off. He does have a hinged jaw, which we saw earlier, and it opens all the way. Oh, his head does pop off occasionally, so that's something to be aware about. Like I said, the mouth does hinge all the way open, so that's pretty cool. Then we get a mouth that opens that wide. Can I get it a little wider? Just a teeny bit wider, but it's pretty good as it is. Head is on a ball joint, which so it can look up, down, or look up, look down, and you can see it has some really good range. You can even turn it slightly to either side, and then we get more movement like that. So that's pretty good. We do have a ball joint in the neck, which the way it's sculpted on mine, I don't know if it's there we go. I got it loose. So he can look down even further. So that's pretty cool. Although you do break up the sculpt back here, so I'm probably going to keep mine like that and have him just use this for the main up and down movement. So now we go on to his torso, where he does have a mid-torso cut. It's really well hidden in the sculpt, and I do like that. You can turn left and right on that. Bend side to side, crunch forward a bit, crunch back, although crunching back, he does hit the dorsal spine, so you're really not going to get too much play out of that because of the way it is sculpted, but it does function. We get onto his hips, which go out. Well, we actually skipped his arms. They're so tiny, but there is a ball hinge right here. They can move back and forth. They go out, as you can see. They do have a hinge in the elbow, so that works pretty well. They spin and bend at the wrist. So we got pretty good articulation for being such tiny hands. Going on to the hips, they do go forward and out to about that far. They go in and out like so. They don't do a full 360, and they go out at an angle, but it looks pretty good no matter how you have it posed. He does have a knee joint which goes back about that far, forward about that far, and then we do get a ball hinge a ball socket right here in his ankle, and the left leg seems to work a little better. You can see that joint works better. Up and down, spins, left and right, up, down, side, side. No articulation in the toes, and it's basically the same for both legs. We get onto his tail where it does swivel. It is on this ball joint right here, so be aware that there is a chance it can pop off. As you've been seeing, mine pops off really easy, but it does move in and out, side to side. So we got a lot of range there. There's another segment right here which goes all the way around, spins, swivels, up, down. goes out and in. Then we have another segment right here, which is the one you're supposed to attach in packaging, and it's also on a ball joint, so it goes forward about that far, hindered by the dorsal spines, goes back that far, spins as well. Then we have another bend right here, which goes back that far, forward that far, spins, rotates. Then we have another ball here, which goes down that far, forward that far, again hindered by the spines. You can shift that joint up to give it a little better range. And then we get some side-to-side play in that. And then this entire part is the bendy wire. So again, I don't think I'll be using this much because it does have a tendency to crack the paint, and I really don't want to be doing that too much because then it won't look as good as it does. But that's Shin Godzilla for you there. So what I'm going to do now is take a little break, get him posed for my final thoughts, then we'll wrap up this review. So sit tight, everyone. So here we have Shin Godzilla posed for my final thoughts. Overall, I really do like this figure. He's a really heavy figure, by the way. I forgot to mention that while he was in the box. The box was actually really heavy for a NECA figure, and he does have some substantial weight to him. Most of that is going to be back here in the tail. I would advise that you find a way to strengthen the ball joints back here in his tail, because as it stands, his tail is really heavy. It's composed of a really dense plastic or some rubbery plastic. So it does make it quite heavy, and if you're going to be posing it, you're going to want these ball joints as strong as possible. But standing him like this, I originally thought his tail was too short, but looking at it, it does look about right compared to all the promotional images that I was able to find. So it is good for what it is. For a domestic figure, I really do like this. Seeing as how the SH figure, Monster Arts Godzilla from Resurgence goes up to about, what was it, 250 last time I saw it, and it's not even as good as this one. I think this one is better overall due to the paint. The sculpt is a little softer than the Monster Arts one, but again, this one just has a much better paint app. So I have to give credit to NECA here. I found this guy at Toys R Us. Like I said, I've been looking for him for some time. Really happy that I was able to track one down in-store. I was actually thinking of ordering him online. If you can find Shin Godzilla, I really do recommend you pick him up, especially if you're a Godzilla fan like me and you're trying to fill out your NECA display. But with that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000 saying don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, go check out all my other action figure reviews. All my toy reviews are up, so go ahead and also check out my NECA collection. I don't have much, but what I do, please go ahead and let me know what you think. As always, if there's a figure you guys would like to see me review, go ahead and let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to add it into my collection if it fits. If not, I'm so sorry about that, guys. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.
My dreams are nightmares. How can I sleep? You got the gun against me.